Okay, welcome to episode 2 of the webcast, The Struggle is Real. The design of this webcast is to engage educators in conversations about how their personal struggles impact their professional life and how their professional struggles impact their personal life, as well as just looking at struggles that we have every day as teachers. And as I said in the first episode, we as teachers, it's very much the supermom complex where we want to be super teacher. We don't necessarily talk about our personal struggles. Oh, sure, we talk and complain about the kids and we complain about the work, but we don't often really expose ourselves to get the support that we need from our colleagues. So that's kind of what the goal of this webcast is to give people the opportunity to share their stories, to get feedback. But primarily, if this could be a cathartic experience for people, I know it is going to be for me. The reason why I have the fortune or misfortune of hosting this webcast is the last 2 years of my life have been absolutely miserable, have been I never would have thought I would go through some of the struggles that I've gone through, both personally and professionally. And so as I teased in the last episode, the topic today is talking about getting laid off and being unemployed. I, unfortunately, in April of 2016, my position was eliminated from the district where I worked. I should mention that I'm both an administrator and a teacher. And at the time I was serving as an administrator, I had a great title, looked great on a business card. It was the Director of Human Capital Development for the district. Basically what that meant was I was in charge of the evaluation program for the all certified and non-certified staff, as well as professional learning for certified and non-certified staff. So as I said, in April 2016, after a particularly bloody budget season, they eliminated my position as well as that of a colleague. We both came in on the same day and we left on the same day. And I have to say that talking about struggle, I was very fortunate to have him as a friend and as a colleague going through the same thing at the same time. They say misery loves company, and that saying isn't meant the way that I took it or the way we took it, was that we were there for each other and we supported each other. We have both been employed since. He got a great job but had to relocate, left Connecticut to go to Florida. I chose a different route where he's still an administrator. I chose to stay geographically where I am and take a teaching position, or take a couple of teaching positions, but we'll talk about that in a minute. So one thing that I do want to mention, as I said, this webcast is going to kind of go down the crapper if it's just me talking. Not that I mind talking about myself, it is indeed my favorite subject, but I would like to have more engagement from the listeners. So we have 2 ways to participate. One is via email. You can send any comment, feedback, or compassion would be nice, or share your story at, you can email me at ldarcy, that's LDARCY, at theeducatorsroom.com. Or I set up a Google Voice number so that you can call. No need to type, no need to think that hard about punctuation and capitalization. You can call and tell me your story or give me some feedback at 860-245-8178. That's 860-245-8178. And if you order now, we'll throw in this wonderful set of Ginsu knives. Not really. So again, topic of today, unemployment. It is devastating. If either you or someone close to you has ever been through a spate of being unemployed, I was amazed at just how horrible it is on so many levels. And I would say there are 2 things that I have learned most out of this experience. The first is compassion. I have learned, as I get older, I have learned not to be judgmental. Still, I can't help it. I think prior to coming to that realization, I was very judgmental. So I'm weaning myself off of it. But certainly, having gone through this experience has made me much more compassionate and less judgmental. It has also humbled me, which I'm sure there are some people out there that thought could never happen. But it has definitely humbled me. And I am much more appreciative of everything that I have and of the people in my life than I was before going through this experience. I've used the word devastating, and really, I would say that the most devastating area was to, or continues to be, because I'm teaching now. And part of me really wants to be back into administration. And as much as I know teaching is the hardest job in education, it does feel like a step backward. And that was very hard for me to get to the point where I was willing to do it. That hubris kept me unemployed for 2 years. I probably could have been employed a lot sooner had I realized a lot sooner that it was better to go back into teaching than to wait for the perfect job to come along. So, it's easy to come up with the number one stressor of being unemployed as being money, and that certainly was the case. I've been blessed that I come from a long line of savers, and so I knew how to save money. So honestly, the first year didn't have a huge impact on my lifestyle. I was able to live pretty much the same, and unfortunately I did, where I should have been cutting corners a little bit more. But I had enough in savings that I didn't have to. Because who would have thought I'd be out of work for 2 years or have sporadic work for 2 years? Certainly not me. I had enjoyed a very, certainly not a quick rise. I mean, I'm 50 years old. I don't know if and I'm still in the middle of the ladder, but a consistently upward bound career. And I saved my money. So for about a year, I was able to just live off of my savings. But at the end of that year, it became a lot less easy. And I am, again, blessed with parents who were able to help me out. And I was able to make it through the second year, but not without going into a considerable amount of debt, which is kind of where I am now. But so aside from that, so I'm talking about personal and professional. So being unemployed is both personal and professional. Those money stresses are huge, but also is the blow to one's ego. And my ego has always been fairly healthy, not going to lie. But it's a real blow to my confidence. And going and the drudgery and stress of applying for jobs over and over and over again. And I got interviews very often. I was called in and then not get the job. That's again a blow to one's ego, a blow to confidence. And every time, after a certain amount of time, I would get an interview, and as I tried to get jazzed up for it, it just felt like one more time. So having said all of that, kind of setting up for what a future episode is going to be about. During this time, I actually went through a divorce. And it's difficult to look at and think about now in retrospect how much of that breakdown in the relationship was a result of either directly or indirectly from the unemployment, the blow to confidence, or the money stressors. Money is one of the top reasons why people get divorced anyway. And now, without my salary, it was definitely a stress on the relationship. And so there we have that. It's hard to untangle. Where does the personal end and the professional begin? Where does that lack of self-confidence only impact my job search, but also where does the floundering in a job search start to affect my personal life? And when start to affect my personal life. There's no meter. There's no meter that will tell us which is impacting which. And especially with a job like teaching, where it is a vocation. I don't care what anybody says. Yes, is it, to quote Marzano, it is an art and a science. Because sure, there are things that we can teach people, but if you don't have the vocation, I don't think you're ever going to have the expertise with the kids that you need. So again, there I am being X'd out of my, X'd out, get it, divorce, funny, not so much. Being X'd out of my vocation. Not just a job, but my raison d'être. It's what I do. It's who I am. And all of a sudden to not have it, to not have that identity, how could I be the same person in a relationship? Wow, way too deep, way too therapy-like. So basically, though, really what I'm talking about is that struggle. That these are the things that are going on in our lives, and And yet every day you need to show up in front of those kids and in front of that classroom and be the best you that you can be. And it is exhausting. It is an exhausting job to begin with, let alone when you're going through these struggles in your personal life. So having shared that, now I encourage you. I want to hear from you. I want to hear, have you been unemployed? Have you been laid off? What was that struggle like for you? Were you fortunate enough to find a job right away? Were you not fortunate enough to find a job right away? And do you find yourself where I am? Right now, Connecticut has a pretty abysmal budget situation statewide and in the local districts. And so I know I'm not the only one out there who is struggling with this. Nationwide, we're seeing all kinds of financial and budgetary impact on our career. And a lot of people getting laid off, especially if you're in one of those areas that isn't tested. So again, want to hear from you, want to hear your feedback, and want to hear your stories. It is as anonymous as you would like it to be. I will call you Skippy if you want, or just your first name, or whatever you would like. Just go ahead and let me know what you're thinking about this subject of getting laid off. Also, and it will be more, I'll look into it more, but I want more feedback before I talk about it, going through a divorce while you're teaching. You know, I went through most of my divorce while I was unemployed. I can't imagine going through that emotional turmoil while having to get up and be the best me possible for the kids. So again, you can reach me via email at ldarcy@theeducatorsroom.com. That's LDARCY at theeducatorsroom.com. Or if you want to leave a message on Google Voice, that phone number is 860-245-8178. Okay, thank you. And I am Linda Darcy here at The Struggle is Real for The Educators Room.